Would you like to find more time and money in your home bakery business? I know we all would. I remember when I was running my cookie decorating business out of my home kitchen a couple years ago and just feeling so frantic and pushed for time, feeling like I was working so hard for so little and something had to give. So today I'm sharing my tips for how I found more time freedom, more income, and more flexibility inside my cookie decorating home bakery. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Sarah Grace. I'm the creator of the Cookie Career online course, which helps cookie decorators create a flexible, creative, and profitable business with their cookie decorating skills. So today I wanted to give you some tips about how to make your home bakery business run a little bit smoother. So there are lots of challenges with running a home bakery or running any home-based business for that matter. Some of those might include being able to balance your time and your schedule, especially when you and your family are living in your home in addition to it being your place of work. Productivity, whether that's getting orders out the door on time and not having to stay up late, or that's actually finding time to schedule your social media posts or work on your website or do any of the other things that come with running any business. I have some tips for saving space and time. One is if you're baking in your home kitchen regularly, chances are your home kitchen is being used to run your bakery business. But not only that, you're also needing to feed your family or feed yourself out of that very same kitchen, which can be a challenge when you're trying to get orders out the door. The countertops are all taken up with your baking and dishes are just everywhere. Dishes are everywhere all the time when you own a home bakery. So one of the things that I found helped so much with time and space was prepping meals in advance. So I found this amazing book by a lady named Cassie Joy Garcia. I'll link the information about this book in the description below. But this book is called Cook Once, Eat All Week, and it shows you how to use a few ingredients to create several different meals. So you kind of make your protein, you make your veggie, and then you combine it in a bunch of different ways throughout the week to create a delicious meal each night. And I think you get 3 or 4 meals, but for my family, it was enough for us to have the meal itself and then leftovers for lunch the next day. And usually a night or two, we could do a leftover night because it was quite a bit of food. So on my prep day that I would prep this food ahead, either a Sunday or Monday, I would have a lot of dishes that day, but then I'd wash them and they would be kind of put away for the week. And then the rest of the week, it was like a one pot or a one sheet pan or something like that I could do pretty quickly and easily. And I didn't have to dirty a bunch of dishes and take up a lot of space in my kitchen to get my family fed without us eating out every night. That was a challenge that I encountered a lot, was just being able to still use my kitchen even though I'm running a business from it. So something else that helped me save time and space in my home bakery is prepping things that I know for sure I'm going to need in advance. So for me, that was cookie dough. I would roll out my cookie dough in sheets ahead of time and freeze it. I always tried to take a day a month or a day every 2 weeks or so. If I had some free time, if I had a chance, if my husband was taking the kids outside or whatever was going on, I would take some time and go ahead and make a bunch of cookie dough. I would make a double or a triple batch, as much as I could get done in that time frame. Go ahead and get it rolled out in sheets and put it in the freezer. That way I had my dough on hand when I needed it. And that didn't affect the quality of the dough or anything. I figured out a way to wrap it with clear saran wrap in the freezer. I have a video all about that process. If you're a cookie decorator and you want to know about that, I'll link that up in the cards here. But I would prep that ahead of time so that each week I wouldn't have to spend time making dough, doing the dishes from making the dough. You all know how that goes. It is an in-depth process to get that made, and then we have the cleanup and all the things that come with it. So if I could get that done ahead of time and not have to worry about it that week, if I could just pull out pre-made sheets of dough that were frozen, cut out my shapes, bake, and go. That saved a ton of time and a ton of space when it came to getting my orders out the door. And anything that you can do in advance, whether you're a cake baker and you need to make your cakes ahead of time. I've heard of cake bakers freezing their cakes in the freezer. Whatever you can do in advance that won't affect the quality of your product, that will still make sure your customers are getting the best bakes that they can possibly get, that is going to help you so much with your productivity. So take a look at what you're doing each week. Just start to notice as you are performing those tasks in your business that we all know come up again and again. Start to notice which ones are coming up over and over and over, and try to think in your mind about grouping those like tasks together. So if you're making dough, you can make a lot of dough and freeze it, and then that's one task done. I didn't like to do that with my icing because I do prefer to use fresh icing. That was just a little pet peeve of mine. It just worked better, and I would end up wasting more time trying to work with icing that I'd made ahead than if I just made a fresh batch. So you just kind of have to see what you should batch into large batches and do ahead of time, or what needs to be done in the moment. Take notice of what you can do ahead, what you can't. Take notice of what tasks you kind of naturally do together. I always ended up taking photos of my cookies before I would package them. So I would go to start packaging cookies, and then I would be like, oh man, I've got to get some pictures of those to post on social media. So I made that part of my weekly plan. I had a photography block in my weekly schedule where I would take pictures of my cookies. So making a weekly schedule or a workflow is a great way to stay organized with your tasks. For example, that would be like bake on Monday, flood on Tuesday. Just kind of having that weekly flow of things that you know you're going to be doing. You kind of have it in your head and maybe on paper of how you're going to get these things done. And it really does make such a difference when you're able to batch some of those things that you know you're going to be doing ahead of time. Save yourself a little time, and you kind of have a plan for how each order is going to move through that weekly schedule, and how you know for sure you're going to be able to get all that done without having to stay up all night long. Now, I know we're all going to have our share of late nights when it comes to baking, but you can kind of try and help yourself avoid them sometimes with the batching, with the scheduling, things like that. Now, next week, I'm going to talk some more about workflows and how to design a system for yourself in the app Trello. Now, I know this sounds kind of crazy, like, well, why would I take time to sit down at the computer and design a whole system? That's time that I could be baking. But if you have this kind of little board or this plan that you can look at and get a visual of when each of these tasks that you know need to be done are getting done, then that is going to help you so much to move through that system and be more productive when you have that visual of exactly what needs to be done daily, weekly, monthly, that kind of thing. And it will help you balance those business tasks and those baking tasks and those family tasks and all of the things that have to get done in between. Now, one of the challenges I encountered when running my home bakery business was, like I said, space, and also being able to keep what I was baking kind of put away. I had small boys at home at the time. I have twin boys who are now turning 4. That's who did my precious little artwork up here. But at the time I was running my bakery, before I started teaching other cookiers full-time, my boys were about 1.5 to 2 at the time I was running my bakery, like in the full swing of things. And we had the awfulest time with, I would lose a cookie every once in a while to a little cookie monster who would come through and grab one. I didn't want the food coloring to be within reach of them, because we had an incident one time where one of my boys thought it was paint like he paints with and like he gets to paint with sometimes, and he had it all over him. And so we had a little boy who looked a bit like a Smurf at church on Sunday because he had blue gel food coloring all over his hands, all over his face. Yeah, it was bad. So we had to figure out a way for me to kind of keep things put away and out of reach for them, and kind of close that space off so that I could have peace and family time in my home without worrying about my work being messed up or one of my boys getting into something that they shouldn't. So we found that by finding a little bit of unused space in our house, or underused, maybe it's something that you're not using frequently. It may be used just maybe on a weekly or monthly basis. We found that our laundry room, we have a very, very big laundry room. And so, half of my laundry room is my actual washing machine and clothes and stuff. And then half is the pantry and some open space. And so I placed like a large dining room table in that laundry room, put a curtain between the table and the washing machine. And that really helped me to have a dedicated space where I could close it up and I could leave it until I was ready to go back and work some more. Okay, so tips for balancing business and baking. So when you started your bakery business, I'm sure that you weren't getting into it because you love spreadsheets and numbers and social media marketing. You probably got into it because you love baking. And then the business side of things just kind of came upon you, and it was like, oh snap, I've got to figure this out. At least that's how it was for me. And I found that I really enjoyed the business side of things, but it wasn't that way at first. It took me a while to kind of understand that there is a difference between working in your business and working on your business. So this was explained to me, and I wish I had understood it sooner. That's why I'm going ahead and that's why I'm sharing it with you. But working in your business, that is taking orders, completing orders, doing the baking, getting the orders out the door, doing all the customer interaction. That is working in your business. It is completing the tasks that have to get done for you to get that paycheck or for you to get that revenue that's coming through the door. Those are all the things that are kind of non-negotiable, and usually they're the things that are like, okay, they're overwhelming us, and that's why we can't get to some of those higher level, what I like to call strategic things. So when I say strategic things, those are the things that we are doing when we're working on our business. When you're working on your business, that is when you're doing things that can take your business as a whole forward. That is finding new customers. That is creating content that people can see. So like social media posts and social media profiles, websites, things like that. Things that are going to move your business forward. Keeping up with your finances, hiring people if that's the stage that you're at. It's taking time to review what's working in your business and think about what isn't, and kind of do some problem solving in that area. It's all those tasks that I used to refer to as my laptop tasks. And I had like my laptop tasks and my kitchen tasks, or my office tasks and my kitchen tasks. So sometimes it was really hard to balance all those. And I felt like I was back and forth between computer, kitchen. And so I found that taking either a day or 2 days, so like Thursday was kind of a slower day for me because orders were going out the door on Fridays and Saturdays usually when I was running my bakery. People were having events on Friday evening and Saturday. And so Thursdays were a little bit slower. I was getting things, with cookies, you can package them and they stay fresh for quite a while in those heat seal bags. So I would go ahead and package them on Thursday, make sure they were photographed and ready to go. And then by the time I dropped them off on Friday, Friday was a pickups day or dropping off, things like that. I wasn't deep in the trenches of baking. And so I would kind of take an hour or two on those days and try to find some of the things that I knew needed to get done in my business, like reviewing my finances, making those plans, doing those strategic laptop tasks, and just setting aside a little bit of time each week where you can look at your business as a whole and say, this is working, this isn't. This is something that needs to be done. This is something that, is working well. Can really help you ensure that you are balancing the baking and the business together. Now, when you first get started, it is so easy to get overwhelmed. Like, Sarah, I can't sit down and build a website in an hour a week. It will take me 3 months to get my website built that way. But just break it down into projects. If this first session that you're having, this first weekly sit down where you're going to focus on business, is just completely overwhelming to you and you have no idea where to start with a brain dump. Start with a big to-do list and say, here's all the things I feel like I need to get done on the business side of things. And then start with the most urgent. Take you a little highlighter and go through the things that have a consequence if you wait about them. And, maybe mark them 1, 2, 3 priority. If it's absolutely the most important thing to get done, mark that a 1. There's lots of videos on how to prioritize your tasks and things. I'm not going to get super deep into that, but try to prioritize the things that are going to save you time as much as possible. I tell my cookiepreneurs inside the Cookie Career course to create automatic messages that go out to their customers. Anytime someone messages you or inquires about an order, having an automatic message that gives them all the information you find yourself repeating all the time is so helpful. It can be as simple as, hi, this is Sarah Grace. Thanks so much for getting in touch. I'll be with you as soon as I can. Here are some answers to some common questions. Cookies start at $45 a dozen. Minimum order is a dozen. These are the dates that are booked on my calendar. These are the dates that are open. I can't wait to talk to you. If you'd like to go ahead and place an order, here's a link to my order form. Just something simple like that in your automatic responder. That way you're not having to answer those questions constantly throughout the day. That's something you can do right off the bat to save yourself some time. Creating these workflows, planning how you're going to batch things to get more done, those are great ways to spend your business time. In this business time, you can also take some time to review your pricing. Is the current pricing structure that you have working, not working? I have a video that I did recently about pricing sugar cookies. If you're a cookie decorator and want to learn more about how I recommend pricing your cookies, this pricing structure kind of helps you save time with each customer rather than looking at the inspiration photo, discussing the details of the order, and then figuring out, kind of guessing, either by guessing or by going to the Facebook group and asking how you think you should price that order. You have a set structure, a set pricing system that you use each time, and so it takes the guesswork out of it. And allows you to save that brain power and time for other things throughout the week. Like I said, I have the pricing video here and a free download about my personal pricing preference, I guess you'd call it, my pricing guide that you can download in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful to you, and I would love to know, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing in your home baking business right now? I'm always looking for new content ideas. I'm always looking for new ways to help. So if you could let me know what you would like some help with and what you would like me to create more videos on, I would love to hear about it. You can get in touch with me by commenting here on the video. I'll be happy to talk to you in the comments. You can also come and join my free Facebook group, Cookiepreneurs. That'll be linked in the description as well. That's Cookiepreneurs. And you can direct message with me, talk with me, and post and comments there as well. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it so much if you'd like and consider subscribing. When you like and subscribe, that lets YouTube know that what I'm making is good content and lets other bakers like you see it too. Thank you again for watching today, and I wish you the best of luck in your home baking business. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.